Okay. I'm going to try to see if I can finish this up real fast. I don't want to take up too much of our time today because I got to do things. Got to look at some more videos for my school thing, and I got to get the paper, and I got to get something because I'm fucking starving to death. Okay. Motherfucker. Okay. Here's the deal. The reason why I talked about what I just talked about how you do the impression and this and that and this and that, microstamping is not going to tell us anything we don't already know. Microstamping, well, the forensic scientists, with the method they have already of looking at the firing pin impression, they can determine with zero margin of error that this gun fired this casing. The gun was found in the suspect's house with the search warrant, blah, blah, blah. The cartridge casing was found at the scene of the crime, blah, 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 blah. Therefore, the criminal had the murder weapon. Therefore, he probably was the murderer. It suggests he was either the murderer or he bought the gun from the murderer illegally. I don't know. Microstamping will not tell us anything we don't already know. It won't. The only thing microstamping will tell us is the serial number of the gun. Now, if you have the gun in custody, more power to you. If you have the gun in custody, the forensic scientist can do this test, compare the two casings, and voila, done. The microstamping method will tell us the serial number of the gun that was used to commit the crime. Now, that will tell us who the gun is registered to. Now, the criminal does not always go to the store, buy the gun, fill out paperwork, get a license, and commit the murder. The criminal is going to buy a gun he found in the street, or he bought on the street, or he had imported illegally, or something like that. So, A, the microstamping won't work because the gun was stolen was bought illegally from a state that doesn't require microstamping. Or the microstamping will tell us the name of the man who the gun is registered to. But the gun was stolen from the man's house, sold on the black market, sold to this guy, that guy, that guy, that guy, then the murderer, and then the murderer uses it to commit the crime. The only thing that this microstamping tells us is who the gun is legally registered to, if it's registered at all to anyone. Okay? So if I get an AK-47 that I bought from a terrorist and had imported into the country illegally, and the AK-40, guess what? Microstamping won't tell us shit. Okay? Here's the deal. Microstamping has not been proven to solve one crime whatsoever. This method here, that ballistics testing that I talked about, I couldn't even begin to tell you how many forensic scientists solve homicides with that ballistic test that I talked about. And you can read about it in a book, and you can watch it on television, therefore it's not confidential. Therefore I can talk about it. I don't talk about anything that's confidential. Okay, so the machine that puts the serial number on the gun is expensive. Is the gun manufacturer going to pay for that out of the goodness of their heart? Or are they going to up the price of the guns a couple of dollars? Or is the state going to up a couple of dollars on everyone's taxes? How are they going to pay for the microstamping? I am not opposed to Megan's Law, sex offender registration. I am not opposed to banning felons from owning firearms. I am not opposed to any method that is proven to solve crime or might reduce crime or may possibly stop one crime we don't know. Here's the deal with microstamping. Microstamping was introduced because it's something against guns and against gun owners. Okay? Here's how you have to approach this issue, okay? You have to have a forensic scientist, like the man I studied under. You have to have a forensic scientist. The forensic scientist has to honestly say which method would he prefer more. Would he prefer doing the cartridge ballistic test like he's been doing for 35 years? Or would he prefer to learn a new method about microstamping? What method is more successful? What method is better for him? What method is likely to produce a result? This, comparing the cartridges, will definitely produce a result. It will definitely. It's been going on for dozens and dozens of years. I know guys that did it. My God almighty. But the forensic scientist, who is not a member of the Brady campaign or the NRA, should come in and stand neutral and say, microstamping is blank. It's a good idea or it's a bad idea. Whatever it is, he should say it, okay? Politicians are saying it because it's the form of gun control. They're not saying it because they have a scientific method that will stop crime. They're saying it because it's a form of gun control, okay? Now, I don't want to fuck around with anything with taxpayer money. Or with my money, my personal money, if I buy another gun, whatever, down the line, okay? I'm not willing to spend money unless you can illustrate to me this will work, okay? You need to pay the fire department. Because if you don't pay the fire department and my house burns down, I can't get rescued. That makes sense to me, okay? You need to pay for the ambulance corps because if I'm having a massive heart attack or I'm bleeding to death, I need to be transported to a hospital immediately. I can't drive myself. And I need someone to drive through the red lights to get me to the hospital, okay? I understand that, okay? I understand that. But before you can tell me, hey Vin, pay this much money for your next gun. Hey Vin, pay this much money a year in taxes. Hey Vin, do this and that. Okay? You have to have some kind of illustration here, bro. Is it gonna help me reduce crime? And this is coming before the legislature tomorrow. And you know what? New York is the land of gun opponents. Okay? We are outranked. Oh, wait a minute. We got Maryland, then Connecticut, then us. No, Maryland, Connecticut, New Jersey, New York, and then California. Okay? Hold on. We have more rights than Jersey, everybody has more rights than California. Okay, Connecticut and Maryland have more rights than us. That's it. That's it. They're about the same with us. New Jersey and California are worse. We have Republican and Democrat politicians in New York that are both anti-gun. Yeah, there are Democrats that are members of the fucking NRA. President Kennedy was one of them. Yeah. Yeah, President Kennedy was a fucking NRA member. That's right. And there are Republicans that are members of the Brady campaign. Yes, there are. So my issue is, let's not have another piece of useless legislation. If you can prove to me that microstamping could help solve more crimes than the method that is already being practiced, by all means. But don't forget, this is a new method. If you have a forensic scientist, 1 minute check. Okay, I'm under the minute. Okay. My friends, if you have a forensic scientist that has never before used microstamping as a method of solving crime, he has to learn an entire new method, and when he goes to court to testify against the suspect, what's the first thing the defense attorney is going to say? This is a new method, and this is your first time ever testifying in court about this experiment. Now, the traditional firing pin comparisons, okay? The traditional firing pin comparisons, striker comparisons, whatever you want to call them, have been instituted for years. So, I would much rather have a forensic scientist come to court, get up on the stand, and say, these two bullets, these two casings, were fired from the same gun. This casing was fired in my office on camera. This casing was found next to the dead body. The gun that fired these casings was found in that suspect's house with the police search warrant. This is my 439th time conducting this experiment. This is my 397th time testifying about this experiment in court. I have been practicing forensic scientist for 23 years, 4 months, and 7 days. I have a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, a PhD, and I studied my internship with the Secret Service or whatever, FBI or, okay? That sounds much more powerful and convincing to the jury than, okay, this is a new method. It's never been used before by anyone. I'm the first person in the entire United States to conduct this experiment. I think it will work. Okay? That's the issue. I'd rather the guy testify about an experiment he's conducted hundreds or thousands of times before than about something new. I'm getting a sore throat now. Motherfucker. Okay, so I am healthy, I am well. I'll probably be back on with another video in another week or two. No, I'm terribly sorry. I'm gonna do a video this week. At least one this week, maybe two. In addition to this stuff. Okay, thank you.